GOP lawmakers are doing the thing we all said they would. They're attempting to defund all of the public libraries in the state. And honestly, this was only a matter of time, and those of us who saw what was happening and put all the pieces together, we knew that it would come to this eventually.
Mr. Chairman,
the gentleman's time's expired.
We need more politicians reading books in America and fewer politicians trying to censor books in America.
The story is that the Missouri librarians filed suit with the ACLU against the state over infringement of their First Amendment rights, specifically in regards to Republican-backed book bans. So, in retaliation, the Missouri House voted to just defund all 399 libraries in the state completely, revoking $4.5 million in public funding. The bill is expected to pass the GOP-run state Senate, and it's expected to be signed into law by the Trump-backed GOP governor.
Often when we tell the public about the things that are getting voted on in here, they think when we tell them what happened just today, that's got to be partisan rhetoric and hyperbole. It's not. These are the things actually passing. They actually took out all state aid for public libraries explicitly because librarians are suing over their First Amendment rights over a book ban.
Democratic State Representative Peter Meredith said on the matter, quote, "I feel like we're starting to live in a dystopian future from like 1984 or Fahrenheit 451, where we're talking about book bans from the government, and then the government being mad at librarians as the threat to our kids and defunding public libraries. That's the real world here in Republican-led Missouri." Of course, the Republicans are claiming to be doing this because they're saving the children. From what? I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, I know what they say. I know their talking points, but their talking points are nonsensical and hypocritical and hysterical. It's culture war insanity that they scare people into falling for, and since most of their constituents live in suburban or rural areas, everything is terrifying. Everything is a liberal agenda. That's why Trump supporters literally believe that drag brunches, that no one is making anyone attend by the way, are more detrimental and dangerous to children than the guns that are actually killing children.
The only thing that I think that you can really say to get through to people or really get them to understand where danger lies and where it doesn't is to look at the numbers. Like, are you seriously afraid of taking your child to a drag show, or even possibly your child seeing a trans person on the street? If you're worried about the dangers for your children, then maybe you should really look into where the dangers are.
That's why Republicans kept crying about 1984 at the start of the pandemic, as if any of them had actually read the book. They don't like books or education. We know that because they're trying to defund both of those things. But they do like repeating things they read in memes on Facebook. That's why Republicans are so terrified of socialism, because they have such a poor understanding of what socialism is that they don't even know that they don't understand it. They're just afraid of it. Okay, so I don't want to blame this on the people of Missouri. I live in a red state that has way more blue in it than it gets credit for, but the things our state government does on our behalf is as infuriating and perplexing for a lot of us here as it is for a lot of you outside of this state. Not only that, but it's incredibly hard to vote them out and get different leadership because they're constantly enacting voting restrictions and roadblocks against us. Just recently, here in Texas, Republicans introduced a state bill that would ban polling locations from college campuses, presumably because college students tend to vote Democrat. All that to say, I sympathize with the people of Missouri who don't support any of this, and I imagine there are many. I also sympathize with the people of Kansas, whose state GOP just made it okay for adults to inspect children's genitals, to protect the children. I also sympathize with the people of Tennessee, who just lost 2, nearly 3 democratically elected Democrats in their own state legislature because they actually did fight to protect the children from deadly violence. The state GOP expelled them on grounds of decorum, of all things. We have a growing problem in this country of anti-intellectualism, and I say it's growing because while it's already quite bad, it seems to be getting worse. We have a culture where the public is constantly bombarded with information they don't understand or don't have the time or energy to process, and yet they're expected to have opinions on everything, strong opinions. When people are asked for their opinions on things that they don't understand, they give nonsensical responses based on things maybe they heard other people say or things that maybe sound good to them. How often do you hear someone, when asked to comment on something they don't fully understand, say, "I don't know enough about that topic to comment"? The answer is not enough. Social media, for better or for worse, has also empowered people to platform their ideas even if they're based in nothing. To become popular on Twitter or TikTok, you say the inflammatory things, or you say the normal thing in an inflammatory way. And then you're held to account for everything you've ever said, regardless of the political or social landscape, during the time in which you said the thing. You're not really given any space or grace to explore a topic or an idea, maybe have a bad take or two, and then later say, "I don't really feel that way anymore. My thinking has evolved since then because I became more educated on the topic and or subject matter." There are a lot of things I don't understand or that I don't feel strongly about, and I don't talk about those things in these videos because for those topics, it's better for me to listen and read than it is for me to speak, and that is okay, and I think we need to normalize that. It's also okay to read a book, to have that book in your home and on your bookshelf and not subscribe to the ideas presented within it. It's okay to watch videos like this one and not agree with everything the presenter is saying, but it's also okay to discuss those things in the comment section without devolving into us versus them or absolutely right versus absolutely wrong binary bickering. You can discuss a topic or an idea without promoting that topic or idea. And you can discuss a topic or idea without debating that topic or idea. Don't get me started on debate culture. All right, I'll leave you with this. There's a Broadway show called Spring Awakening that came out in 2006, the year that I graduated from high school. It was a modern musical based on a German play from 1891. And the show was set in Germany in 1891, which at the time was under William II, or Kaiser Wilhelm. He was the last emperor of Germany and king of Prussia, as the monarchy would soon be overtaken and Wilhelm would abdicate. In the lead up to World War I, Germany was growing economically, but so was the workers' movement. Soon after, the Nazis would spring up, there would be 2 world wars, etc. But the play and the musical focused on the children of Germany. The children, who were all in transition from childhood to early adolescence, had limited knowledge of the changing world around them and of their own changing bodies and minds because the adults in their lives had failed them. Their parents, their teachers, and their clergy. The children's transition from innocent children to naive teenagers was juxtaposed against Germany's transition from a monarchy to a misguided, hyper-conservative modern nation. The kids weren't allowed to read certain books that were too thought-provoking and were therefore deemed too controversial. They weren't taught about puberty or sex because that was taboo, so they were left to figure it all out on their own, in one case to fatal consequence. Another kid just needed some help in school, but his abusive father and teachers just wrote him off as a failure. He couldn't handle the pressure. But one kid was the exception. His mother was more liberal, more progressive, so he was allowed to read certain books at home. He thought more about the world around him because he knew more about the world around him, but he was still young, naive, and inexperienced in life. He was eventually sent to juvie for being too bombastic, but by the end of the show, he had lost 2 of his closest friends to a society that was doing everything it could to, quote-unquote, protect the children from knowing too much, from thinking too much, and from feeling too much. Ironically, if they tried to revive the show today, it would probably get canceled. All right. That's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like and subscribe and be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I'm going to the beach. Goodbye.